Hi, I'm Mr. Hutchings, and this is Mr. Hutchings History. Today is topic 5.8 of the AP World History program, Reactions to the Industrial Economy from 1750 to 1900. Our AP themes today will be social interactions and organization, governance, and economic systems. Our historical reasoning skills will be causation and continuity and change over time. Industrialization promised growth, efficiency, and wealth, but for many people, it delivered something else first: long hours, dangerous workplaces, low wages, and lives shaped by machines. By the 19th century, industrial societies were no longer asking how to industrialize, they were asking whether the system itself was humane. This episode explores how workers, thinkers, and governments reacted when economic change outpaced social protection. Industrial labor was harsh. Factories were crowded, poorly ventilated, and unsafe. Miners worked underground for entire days. Children labored alongside adults because children were cheaper, smaller, and easier to control. In Britain, public awareness grew after the Sadler Report of 1832, which documented the brutal conditions faced by workers, especially children. For many readers of the Sadler Report, this was the first time the human cost of industrial growth became visible. A famous labor organizer called Mother Jones captured this reality bluntly when she described men fighting like tigers for a few seconds of sunlight after working underground all day. This moment reveals causation clearly. Industrial conditions produced organized resistance. Why did industrial working conditions provoke outrage only after reports like the Sadler Report? Because suffering was often hidden. Once conditions were documented and publicized, reform became politically unavoidable. Workers responded by organizing. They formed labor unions, organizations designed to bargain collectively for wages, hours, and safety. In Britain, unions were often treated as criminal conspiracies and forced to operate in secret for much of the 19th century. Over time, persistence paid off. Unions helped secure minimum wage laws, limits on working hours, overtime pay, and eventually the 5-day work week. Union activism also fueled broader political change. Expanded voting rights in Britain during the 19th century reflected growing pressure from the working class, especially in urban industrial centers. This shows continuity and change over time. Political participation expanded gradually in response to economic transformation. Industrialization reshaped childhood. In earlier agrarian societies, children worked alongside families. Industrial factories separated labor from home, exposing children to extreme danger. Reformers pushed back. Britain banned children under 10 years of age from working in coal mines in the 1840s. By 1881, education became mandatory for British children aged 5 to 10. This permanently redefined childhood, not as a period of labor, but a period of education and protection. Why did industrial societies begin to see child labor as unacceptable? Because factory labor exposed children to new dangers, and because reformers linked education to national progress. Economic change also provoked intellectual debate. Some thinkers sought reform, not replacement of capitalism. One of the most influential of these thinkers was John Stuart Mill, a British philosopher who criticized laissez faire capitalism for ignoring human suffering. Mill promoted utilitarianism, the idea that policies should aim for the greatest good for the greatest number. He supported legal reforms to allow unions, limit child labor, and regulate working conditions. Other thinkers rejected gradual reform entirely. Karl Marx, writing with Friedrich Engels, argued that capitalism was inherently exploitive. In the Communist Manifesto, published in 1848, Marx described society as divided into two classes: the bourgeoisie, who owned the means of production, and the proletariat, who sold their labor. Marx believed capitalism would inevitably collapse under its own contradictions and be replaced first by socialism, then by communism. This debate illustrates a key AP skill: comparison. Reformers and revolutionaries diagnosed the same problems but proposed radically different solutions. Why might some workers favor reform while other workers supported revolution? Because reform promises improvement within the system, while revolution appeals to those who believe the system itself is beyond repair. Industrial reactions were not limited to Europe. In the Ottoman Empire, reforms began under Sultan Mahmud II, who abolished the janissaries, centralized taxation, built roads, and created European style ministries. These efforts expanded during the Tanzimat reforms, which aimed to modernize law, education, and government administration. However, reforms sparked resistance from multiple directions. Muslims worried reforms undermined traditions. Non Muslims feared loss of autonomy. Women often lost legal protections they had previously held under Islamic law. In China, the Qing dynasty pursued limited modernization through the self strengthening movement, focusing on military technology while preserving Confucian governance. Reform efforts intensified after defeat by Japan, but conservative resistance, especially under Empress Dowager Cixi, blocked many changes. In Japan, rapid reform following the Meiji Restoration provoked backlash from the samurai, who lost status, lost stipends, and lost their traditional roles. Some of the samurai resisted violently. Other samurais adopted as bureaucrats. These cases show that reform itself can produce resistance. By the end of the 19th century, reform had achieved mixed results. Unions improved conditions, but did not eliminate inequality. Political participation expanded, but remained limited. Women often benefited least from reform, especially in non Western contexts. Industrialization forced societies to choose between tradition and adaptation. But those choices were never simple, nor were they unanimous. Topic 5.8 completes Unit 5 by showing that economic systems provoke social and political responses. Topic 5.8 shows that economic systems provoke social and political responses. This topic reinforces causation. Harsh conditions generated resistance. Continuity and change. Reform expanded slowly and unevenly. And global comparison. Different societies responded in distinct ways. This topic also sets the stage for 20th century ideologies, labor movements, and revolutions. Industrialization transformed the world, but it also revealed the world's limits. Workers organized, thinkers debated, states reformed, and resisted reform. Progress did not move in a straight line. Progress provoked struggle. When economic change creates suffering, who is responsible for correcting it? History suggests responsibility is shared by governments, employers, and societies that choose whether to protect or ignore the vulnerable. I'm Mr. Hutchings, and this is Mr. Hutchings History. As always, thank you for joining me for this podcast. And remember, continue to study history. It matters.